Am I allowed to tell them that?
Oh no, bothered.
You're not bothered? I'm not bothered. Be bothered. Ladies and gentlemen, Caroline Aherne!
My name's Nick Hoare, and I'm from London.
My name's Simon Evans, and I'm currently resident in Peckham.
My name is T.J. Murphy, from Wakefield.
I'm Daryl Martin, and I'm from, I live in Nottingham, but I'm from Basingstoke.
Hi, I'm Steve Keyworth, and I'm from Manchester.
I would like to be the most fully rounded Renaissance man of the comedy genre, I suppose.
Yeah, my hopes for the future, on the short term, I'd just like to get over my hangover. But in the long term, just have enough people think I'm funny for me not to feel like an idiot every time I get on the stage.
You know, like when you're on a bus, and there's a little kid on the seat in front, and he's looking over the back of the seat at you. It's a bit like that, really. Except you never slap an audience.
I suppose my ultimate ambition, like everyone else, is probably world domination, like huge merchandising, that sort of thing, but I'd probably settle for like the odd appearance on Celebrity Squares in the year 2000 or whatever the equivalent is.
I tend to think of my material on buses, and just lots of stuff. I've got a big box of things written on beer mats and bus tickets and all sorts of stuff like that. I don't really sit down and slog away at it.
As you can imagine, it's never best to be on first, unless it's an orgy, of course. In which case, that's definitely the best place to be. So, raise the roof, go wild and crazy, and welcome onto the stage your very first contestant in the 1997 Daily Telegraph Open Mic Awards, Steve Keyworth.
Hello. Get rid of the mic stand. I don't like mic stands. We have very similar figures. I had a very strange gig the other day, actually. I came on stage and I said, everybody go wild. And a load of people went and sat in the corner and ate berries. Hunted animals with a pointy stick, so don't do that. I've been suffering from inverse paranoia. I've got this uncontrollable feeling that everyone's out to help me. You're just humouring me. I went to a support group, but it just made it worse. The Samaritans keep ringing up to check that I'm still fine. I threw out some rubbish, somebody brought it back again. Went out for a walk late at night in Manchester, where I live, and a man in a balaclava came up to me with a knife and gave me lots of his things. I've got to talk about Star Wars, because it's been an important part of my life for 20 years. 20 years of going, I am your father, which always confused my dad. More Star Wars films coming up soon, though, in the next couple of years, with possibly Ewan McGregor from Trainspotting to play the young Ben Kenobi, which would be top, don't you think? Choose life, choose a job, choose a career, choose the Force. But I think he will play the young Yoda in the new Star Wars films. Someone said Paul Daniels recently. I think Martin Clunes, because of the big ears. Jedi Knights behaving badly. Yoda and Ewan McGregor in the corner of some bar somewhere, and Yoda off his head going, ah, twatted I am. Ease and whiz sorted for am I.
My very first gig was a Tuesday night engagement at the Fulmar and Firkin in Holborn, in London. It went very well, as did my second gig 2 days later. About a week later, my third gig, I came very close to dying, and at my fourth gig, back at the Fulmar and Firkin again, I very nearly had a fight with some Austrians in the front row that I thought were being disrespectful.
Never apologise, never explain. That is as much as I'm going to say about this particular jacket and boot combination. I've been staying up in Edinburgh with a friend recently, and part of the deal is I get to feed his dog. Now, I don't know whether any of you own dogs or use dog food for any other purpose, but When checking the label on the can for the ingredients, I was intrigued. It said, contains animal, vegetable and mineral products. And that was it. Animal, vegetable and mineral. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's everything, isn't it? Those are the three categories into which all known matter is divided. It's like saying contents, stuff, ingredients, yes. Doesn't exclude much, does it? As far as I can think, the only thing that excludes is abstracts, you know? Like ambiance, déjà vu, Thursday. Things you don't really expect to find in dog food as a rule, you know. Or at least it's not an issue, is it? I can't remember the last time I checked a can of dog food to make sure it had no added sense of urgency. You wouldn't get away with this elsewhere. If you were looking for a book for the beach, let's say, and you plucked one off the shelf, had a look on the back, contains words. Nouns, verbs, modifiers. Oh, that's... I'll go home this evening, wonder what's on telly. Have a look in the Radio Times. 9:30, programme. Wonder what's on the other side. Oh, programme. 5 to choose from. 4. BBC 2's a bit dull, isn't it? Another interesting thing about this flat, I get to listen to the Spice Girls through the wall next door, but it's still quite clear. And Spice Girls, you probably all know, there may be a few tourists in. The Spice Girls are a pop group, 5 lovely girls, each one has her own personality. There's a couple of things been troubling me about the Spice Girls. The main thing, this song, Wannabe, do they really sing, if you want to be my lover, you've got to get with my friends? Does that mean what I think it means? Have things really changed that much? I don't know, maybe I've just been unlucky. I've always found if there's one thing guaranteed to sour a relationship, you know? I actually have moved around a bit in my time. I was raised in St Albans, went to college in Southampton, studied law down there. Wanted to become a barrister at that time. Instead, here I am telling lies to strangers for a living. Parents are naturally very disappointed, but then they still think I passed. Anyway, I better go now, but I'll leave you with one quick story. It's quite amusing. I came across a letter from an old girlfriend the other day. Well, I say old. It's more the way she dressed, really, but... something that said, "Dear Simon, I'm leaving you. Not only did you get with my friends, but you're an anally retentive arsehole." Now, I had to laugh, aside from the inherent tautology, which is obvious, but... I'd actually had this letter filed under R for rejection. In the correspondence files, brackets romance. It wasn't until I pulled the letter out that I realised she had misspelt anally. I know, it's laughable, isn't it? 2 L's in anally and she'd put 1. So I had the last laugh there after all.
That's all you've dug there. Hey, I've got an idea. While you've got that open, we could lay our new gas main in it.
What a good idea. That would save digging a road up again and causing the public more inconvenience.
Excuse me, mate. You wouldn't mind if we stuck a cable in there at the same time, would you?
The more the merrier.
I've got a phone line.
And that could mend that leak-filled water main. This could save the public weeks of disruption. Anyone else?
How refreshing. How Heineken.
Viennetta brings orange and chocolate together to indulge your senses. Viennetta Orange Chocolate from Walls.
For better holidays, better phone 0990 600 606.
In 6 hours, everything in this system will be dead or dying.
Meet the new face of evil.
If Picard or any of his people interfere, eliminate them.
And join the rebellion.
Move these people out!
Lock and load. Star Trek Insurrection.
The new phone bar is fast and fun, and it's the easiest way to talk to exciting new people. And now you can connect live for a private chat with anyone in the bar you like the sound of. With up to 180 people on the line right now, you're sure to find someone to interest you. Give it a try now and find out for yourself on 09066 144 155. That's 09066 144 155.
Want what's hot in the cold this season? There are loads of great ski holidays on 5Text at the touch of a button. Press your text button now.
First gig I did was was at the Buzz Club in Manchester, and I was a nervous wreck, and basically I rambled far too fast, and I had this very appreciative silence from the audience. I just felt like an idiot, and thought, not doing that again, and it was a disaster. I just was so unfunny, it was unbelievable.
Hey! All right. Okay, good. Right, before I start, just tell you, when I was coming up here, before I come up here, a lot of my mates, they kind of took the piss at me for doing this. One of them goes to me, he's going, "Oi, Daryl, why are you doing that? Why are you going up there in front of all them people, trying to make them laugh, you know, in front of judges?" I thought I'd tell him, share it with the group. I said, what it is as a child, I was a victim of abuse. He went quiet as well. But what it is, it's not physical abuse. There wasn't any of that. What it is, my dad, he fancied himself as an armchair philosopher. See, and I suffered from metaphysical abuse. I know, it's unusual, isn't it? I'd say, Dad, can I have a rally chopper for Christmas? And he'd say, no, son. How many times do I have to bloody tell you, you do not exist? The thing is, like I said, only 8, didn't have any line of argument, right? Until one day, I was reading through La 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 Looking. Didn't know if you read it as kids. TV Times for Kids. Anyway, he had this kiddies cartoon comic strip, the day in the life of René Descartes, great philosopher. Right? And he had this catchy catchphrase, I think therefore I am. And I just went, oh. So I said, Dad, I think therefore I am. And he said, son, you may think, you may therefore be, but all you are is a little brain in an empty vessel. And I am an evil genius feeding all the reality within which you live, right? Which is you lot at the moment, okay, in case you don't understand. And I said, Dad, if it really is true that I'm just this little brain in an empty vessel, and you're an evil genius constructing reality within which I live, then could you make everyone laugh at the end of this bit? Because I ain't got a punchline.
My first gig was at a club in London called Absolutely Bloody Hilarious, and it was okay for a first gig, mainly because I'd sort of rammed the audience with blood relatives and close friends and people who owed me money and things like that. My second gig was a bit of a down-to-earth experience at a huge aircraft hangar of a hall for a benefit with some flamenco guitarists, an Austrian poet, and a compere who was like something out of a dance programme from the 70s. So that was a bit of a wake up to the real world.
We now have so many television channels in this country, with so many game shows on each of those channels. You could take every single game show host, take them up to the north of Scotland, to John O'Groats, lay them end to end, and they'd be a damn sight easy to run over with a combine harvester. Yeah? You would need a slight slope to build up speed, but I think the point is a valid one. Yeah? Or take Peter Andre, young person singing star, with his oh-so-sexy six-pack. I've opted for the Watney's Party 7, which isn't quite so sexy, but it is volumetrically superior, and I think we should respect that, yeah? The so-called science of body language, arse. Yeah? All body language tells us, you're on the bus, in a pub, and there's someone opposite you, like this. Ignore the expensive haircut, ignore the designer clothes. What my body is saying to you is, I'm a twat. Yeah? And I'm tall, and apparently what my body is saying to you, again, ignore expensive haircut, ignore designer clothes, is come and bore me shitless with your inane and tawdry banter. Yeah? People who say things like, what's the weather like up there? Yeah? That really hurts, because as a child I had one dream, and it was a pure dream and a good dream. And that dream was to one day, just one day, to become a BBC weatherman. Age of 18, come to London, knock on the doors of Broadcasting House. I have come to claim my birthright. Doorman just looks at me and goes, piss off, son. If you're over 6'2" and you want to be a weatherman, your head has to be exactly the same shape as the Shetland Islands. Trust me to end up with a perfect Isle of Wight.
I do characters, so the best way to prepare to do a character gig is to introduce yourself to complete strangers, but ask someone else, which I do on the way to the gig. That and some kind of breathing exercises.
Right, who here's got fat kids? Somebody must have, because 1 in 4 of them are obese. Oh yeah. And what are we going to do about that? Well, chase them. And chase them properly, don't just make them jump. Mums and dads, be honest. Say there are bad men out there, men in hats. They like fat little boys and girls. We see them, we chase them, working together as a community. Get the little hearts pumping again, can't we? Oh no, it's a difficult time for the family. I mean, is it safe to feed beef burgers to children? I wear protective gauntlets. I reassure kids. I say, don't worry. Still safe to eat jelly babies, as long as you remove the head and spinal column. I've opened a wibbly-wobbly abattoir. Kids bring jelly babies for slaughter in a non-threatening environment. That's a risky world. I mean, why do cancer cases cluster around nuclear power stations? It's the last place they want to be. Actually, I am one of identical twins, but my brother is a bit strange. So what I did was, took a patent out on myself and sued him. I won, now he has to wear a disguise. If he has kids, I get royalties. It's marvellous. And yet some people say, abandon technology. Let's get back to nature. And I say to them, don't you realise, before the invention of cat's eyes, cats continually bumped into things. Before the invention of the wooden leg, tables had real legs. Couldn't catch them. Before the invention of the wheel, primitive men with rough stone axes had to cut your pizza. Good night.
We're going to meet the judges to find out any comments they have to make, and we'll start with Caroline Aherne, not because it's ladies first, but because you are, out of our 4 judges, you are the one who's performed on stage perhaps more times than most of them, apart from Gary, obviously, in some Soho clubs that I've been to.
You said you'd never tell.
Oh, no, sorry, but they didn't give me my money back. Caroline, talk to us. What do you think of the standards here?
I thought the standard was brilliant. I mean, considering that none of them have been paid to do it and everything, I thought... And
what? Hang on. I am. Yeah, okay. First we go.
But, no, and I thought none of them looked nervous, which you would have thought they would be, because nobody's had a drink or anything, even me. But I thought Simon Evans was absolutely brilliant.
Gary, comedy, the new rock and roll. Could you give a fuck?
I was impressed too. There was a couple of really good performers there.
Yeah.
I'm not answering that question.
You're not saying anymore. Arthur?
It's a very good show. I think everyone's very good. Again, I think Simon's really good, and I like TJ a lot as well.
Oh,
But,
yeah, I
yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
You had your chance.
No, I mean, it must be tough for them because it's a bit nerve jangling, but really good. It's a very good show.
Charles Moore?
I think it's very good, but I think it's clear that there are two so far who've pulled above the others. I got a theory. I got a theory. It's something to do with what you wear, but I won't say what in case the others have to change in the second half.
Something to do with what you wear?
Yeah.
What?
I think you should keep that sort of stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, your judges halfway point.
Hi, my name's Anton. I'm from Liverpool.
I'm Michael Toombs, and I'm from Trowbridge in Wiltshire.
My name's Harpie. I hail from Wolverhampton and I live in London.
My name is Paul Foot, and I'm from High Wycombe.
I'm Alex Boardman, and I'm from Manchester.
I think the thing that's mostly influenced my comedy is, well, apart from alcohol, it's been people like Billy Connolly and Tony Hancock, people that my mum and dad were into, that I grew up listening to.
My first gig was the semi-final of the Daily Telegraph Open Mic Award, and I was so good on my first gig I got through to the final. No, I wasn't really.
I like Frankie Howard and so on, but I wouldn't say that I tried to copy him. So I don't really have a particular comedic influence. Ella Fitzgerald is my inspiration for my whole life.
My earliest memories of finding things funny was sort of Sesame Street, The Muppets, when I was quite young, and that's still my sense of humour, sadly.
Wes Dawson would be the one who I very first sat there and thought, yeah, I want to do that. Just enjoyed it so much. Not that I would now. Well, I would. Well, Wes Dawson's dead, so I'd struggle.
I prepare for a gig by getting up in the morning. That's the first start. And I usually then potter around the house a bit, listening to Ella Fitzgerald, just getting myself mentally, prepared, and then I go to the gig. That's normally a second step, which is crucial. What I'm going to do is to just say a few words about my previous career as a boxer. It all started in a pub. It was a bit like here, really. Quite a rough place. I don't know if any of you have ever been into a pub, but you know when you see a real hard man marking out his territory by dribbling beer all round him in a circle and shouting really manly things like, well, that was my opponent. Boxing is scary because it's clearly a sort of fighting game. And yet you have to wear these great big padded leather mittens. How can you defend yourself wearing those? You can't pinch. Or scratch. I mean, you can't even get enough grip to pull hair. So I just stabbed him. I was forced into boxing by my girlfriend, Cecilia. She's always pushing me into things. Canals. I met her at a fun fair. You know when you're chatting up a girl, and because you're nervous, you end up saying the wrong thing? Well, what I meant to say was, hello. But what came out was, beware! There are wolves in the forest of Babylon who will come in the night and bite you! Which didn't make a very good first impression. I spent the rest of the evening sitting on the merry-go-round, holding Cecilia's hand, which was so romantic. Quite tiring for Cecilia, though, because she had to keep running round the outside, moving her arm up and down. Well, I may not be the world's best lover, but I am a dangerous driver. Are you good at map reading? I'm not. I spent my whole holiday recently walking round various Norfolk B roads. Turns out I should have been on the Norfolk Broads. It was a terrible holiday, actually, because I stayed at a self-catering cottage, and there was a sign saying, "Please leave this cottage as you would wish to find it." Well, it took me a week to do up the kitchen. And about another month to do up the lawn. Or something. I haven't thought this part out. I was on this airline once, and the air hostess rushed out of the cockpit and she said, "For God's sake, has anyone flown a plane before?" And I said, "What's happened to the pilot?" And she said, "Good idea, I'll just get him." So she did. And we took off. And everything was fine, really, that evening.
Hey, I've got an idea. While you've got that open, we could lay our new gas main in it.
What a good idea. That would save digging a road up again and causing the public more inconvenience.
Excuse me, mate. You won't mind if we stuck a cable in there at the same time, would you?
The more the merrier.
I've got a phone line.
Anyone else?
How refreshing. How Aherne.
Half the price, twice the fun. 50% cheaper than 0891 Gay Cruise. 0894 87 87 87.
Would you like a holiday where you can eat and drink all you like at no extra cost?
I know what my first choice will be.
The Argos sale is so great!
I just can't get over it.
With Vodafone, everyone enjoys low call rates at off-peak time. Whether you're a new or existing digital customer, you can benefit from our national inland off-peak rates from only 5p a minute. With a mobile phone network that values all its customers, new and existing, the word is Vodafone.
The Currys sale is now on, with huge reductions on washers, fridges, cookers, TVs, hi-fis and more. Currys, the sale for you.
On the edge of the valley, a buzzard clings to a thorn tree. The bird lifts off. Immediately it's blown downwind, twisting and rolling. As fast as if shot from a gun, it's disappeared.
Sir, you've been studying the effects of Red Bull. How would you explain your findings in simple terms?
Well, as a ubertician, I would say its consistency represents the highest level of saturation creativity. In terms of waff-eating activity and latent bionics, the substance is ergotropic. In fact, the fluidity of Red Bull displays a high degree of incommensuration, as confirmed by detailed chronographic examination.
I see. What does that mean?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Other
Other callers may want to flirt with you on this line. 0894 789 789, the Flirt Hotline.
Before a gig, I just kind of make sure my face is clean. I run through my routine if I'm a bit rusty, and then I sort of get into a real panic because I'm normally running, you know, at least half an hour late. Hello. Now, before I start, I think I better make something a bit clear to you, that I am in fact from Wolverhampton, right? But you probably ain't noticed, right? Because the thing is, I've lived in London for about 3 years now, and it's just amazing how you lose your accent, ain't it? Because like, whenever I go home now, all my mates go to me, God, Harpie, you sound like the Queen. But seriously, like, does anybody here actually like my accent? Don't all shout out at once. No, because it does seem to be universally hated. I mean, I've had deaf people close their eyes when I walk in the room. But I am really into accents, and I think my favourite accent's got to be the Welsh one, because they got some excellent phrases, haven't they? Like, whose coat is that jacket? And come by here, I want to tell you a question, isn't it? So I've got a new boyfriend now, and he's a new age wanker, really. But he's younger than me, so he's not very domesticated. And like, he ran me up at work the other day, he goes, I've done a mixed wash. I said, oh God, you don't mean blacks and whites, do you? He went, no, clothes and plates. And have you seen that stuff, I can't believe it's not butter? I can't believe it's got such a ridiculous name. So now instead of asking for Tampax, I'll just ask for a packet of Yippee, I'm not pregnant. And have you seen they've been advertising Caniston for thrush on television? I'm sorry, I don't care how good your advertising campaign is, you can't persuade women to contract thrush. Go on, ladies, you know you're itching to get it. And the bummer of it is, everybody knows what it is now, don't they? I mean, before it was like classified information. You could keep it in your makeup bag and no one was any the wiser, right? So you could play that really good trick on your boyfriend in the winter when he came up to you and he went, have you got any lip seal? And you just pull it out your makeup bag and go, yeah, this is what I use for sore lips.
Me too, I just sort of write... The best stuff I write is just like when I'm sat around with my mates in the pub and get leathered and all of a sudden somebody says something funny and you end up having a little nice story and a bit of banter and then you go home the day after and you sort of remember it.
All right. That was friendly, thanks. You know, right, you know, like when you go out, right, and you see all these, like, single lads, and they've got this look in their eye, and it's like, yeah, tonight's the night, I cop off, I'm going to shag something. And what they actually end up going home with is a soggy piece of lamb fat in pita bread, right, which is pretty much the same thing as copping off in Manchester, but I don't know what it's like up here. Right? But, right, if you think about it, right, if you think about the shape of a kebab, you might as well, might you paid for it. I have actually got a girlfriend, right, my girlfriend works at McDonald's, and I remember the first night we went out, you know, I was a bit nervous, a bit shy, and I was like, Julie, is it all right if I kiss you? She went, certainly, Alex, would you like tits with that? Ended up getting a thick shake as well, though, so... I actually took her up the shitter before I came up to Edinburgh. It's a funny name for a pub, isn't it? Not a good name. Nice place though, you know, small entrance but comfy when you're inside, which is sort of the main thing, you know. Before that, I went out with a PE teacher, and she'd say really off-putting things to me, you know, after sex. She'd say, remember, Alex, it's not the winning, it's the taking part that counts. It's not the winning, what's she on about? I always finish first. I actually went to university, you know, and I find the hardest thing is not actually the course or anything like that. The hardest thing at university is being with people that ordinarily you'd only meet if you were kicking fuck out of them in a nightclub. right? And you've got to be friends with them for 3 years, haven't you? I mean, they do try, don't they? They say things to you like, oh, hi, my daddy's in banking. What does your daddy do? I was like, what does my daddy do? Post offices, mainly. I don't know. And they do this thing as well, you know, like, so you can make friends in the first week. They've got like a canoeing club and a yachting club. And they've got this thing called a wine and cheese evening, right? Now, where I'm from, a wine and cheese evening is when you get a girl drunk enough to give you a blowjob.
I prefer to appear a little bit nervous than overconfident because it wouldn't work, so... Yeah, beforehand's the nervous point for me.
Thank you. First of all, something about Edinburgh that I noticed today. Coming from the station, between here and the station, there's a chemist, and it's got a few signs in the window, and it's got one that says, "We sell aids for the elderly." So it seems like a nice place to live, just don't retire here, that's fine. But I want to talk to you about my childhood, but before that, the Mike Tyson fight last month. You see that? Yeah? I mean, what a thing to do. I mean, bite off someone's ear. I mean, it's shocking, isn't it? It's outrageous. Not the sort of thing you expect from a wife-beating, boxing rapist. But, yeah, my childhood, when I was very small, we used to have this playmate, this girl that used to come round. We used to play games. We used to play doctors and nurses. And you know how it is. Sort of one thing leads to another. And I got a bit carried away and removed her kidney. But I was in a nightclub recently. And I saw this girl that I wanted to talk to. I was with a friend. And I said to my friend, look, there's no point. She wouldn't be interested in me if I was the last person alive. So my friend tried to reassure me by pointing out that if I was the last person alive, she'd be dead. So she wouldn't have any choice. And that kind of reassured me. So I went over to her, I started talking to her, and I thought it was going nicely. So after a while, I started to hear this voice in the back of my head saying, "She wants you, Mikey, she wants you, Mikey, she wants you." But then I could hear this other voice saying, "No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't." And that voice was hers.
Well, there's a few things that I do in preparation for a gig. The most important one is to put a blank video in the video cassette recorder and press record because I don't know how to set the timer. Then leave a note telling members of my family not to switch over. So that way I get Star Trek recorded.
Listen! You seen that advert for Goodfellas Pizzas where there's all them people biting into really thick, juicy pizzas? Yeah, well, when you get them home and get them out the box, it don't look anything like that, look. Thanks. Oh, I went to sign on the dole the other day, you know, like we do. Now, if you claim sickness benefit, you get more money. So I went in and claimed to be depressed, because depression is actually classed as an illness. And they said, well, because you're depressed, you could have an extra 10 quid a week. And it was all made up, so they took it back again. And then I was depressed. Talking to a girl in the pub down in Kent, posh girl. I said, do you like a man with style? She said, yes, I do actually. I said, well, doggy style, do you? I'm glad you like that one, because I've got 10 more jokes with doggy style on the punchline. Woman took her poodle to the hairdressers to get its hair cut. Thought it was joking, didn't you? Woman took her poodle to the hairdressers to get its hair cut. The hairdresser said, what style would your dog like? She said, doggy style. I hear Paul Weller's formed a new band with a Jack Russell and a Labrador. It's called the Doggy Style Council. I've had enough of doggy style. Oh, you know, on telly late at night they have those adverts for chat lines. And there's an advert for a gay bloke's chat line. Have you noticed how there's no advert for a lesbian chat line? And I'll tell you why that is, right. That's because they're all right advertising a gay chat line, because only gay blokes will phone up. But if they advertised a lesbian chat line, lesbians would phone up, and so would every straight bloke in the country. I know I would. We'd all be phoning up, pretend to be women, saying things like, what would you like to do to me then? I know what I'd like to do to you. There'd be so many blokes phoning up that lesbians wouldn't get a word in. There'd just be a load of blokes talking to each other, pretending to be women. Sometimes get complaints from lesbians and homosexuals about me material. And I just say, I don't know what you're moaning about. I don't complain when people tell jokes about wankers. You know, ants are the strongest creatures in the world because they can carry 50 times their own weight. Now, ants must weigh about 1/100th of an ounce, which means that they can actually carry half an ounce. I could train them to bring me my drugs. I could train whole armies of them to go out and rob other people's drugs for me. Just send them down to the docks when there's a shipment coming in from Holland. Just bring me the old lot back in crates. The ants can get anywhere, can't they? Yeah, you turn your head for a minute, all your drugs would be gone. But I'll tell you something you don't see much these days, and that's dogs getting run over, because... I remember when I was a kid, I'd go out for a drive with the family, and we'd always run a dog over. Well, you know goldfish? You know goldfish are the strongest... No, ants are the strongest creature, no. You know goldfish? No, I sod that one, I ate goldfish. Premature ejaculation, there's a problem, innit? Well, it can be sometimes, you know, like when you've been trying really hard to hold it in till you get to your favourite part of the film. Thanks, see ya.
So, over to our judges, one more time, just to say, just a final few closing comments for you, because you've seen the whole lot now. Gary, the Standard. Why don't you work for them?
I hated the compare. I thought it was really iffy, the compare. It's going to be very, very tough for us, because at least 4 guys here are very, very strong. You can see them, 2 of them at least having a good career on TV. Yeah. So I think there'll come some heated debate.
Heated debate. I'm looking forward to that. You looking forward to some heated debate, Charlie?
I think there's 3 that I'm really stuck between.
I'm looking forward to that in the Sunday Telegraph. Charles.
There were two more. I agree with Gary. We got 4, haven't we? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Arthur?
I like 3 of them, especially. 3
of them, especially. Well, we'll just... Shall we let you... Judges are going to go and do what judges normally do, which is go curl crawling around Leith. And then we'll be back in a few short moments. So, ladies and gentlemen, your judges.
Well, I like, TJ, Simon, Paul Foot and Anton. I thought they were the strongest.
Yeah.
The quickest way would be if each of us names the winner. And then if we all... Wouldn't it?
Ooh. No, that won't be good.
£2,000 would set me out very nicely in London in the autumn, because I'm going to move down there.
Well, I thought Paul Foot and Anton, they both were just naturally funny. And they had brilliant sort of manners and styles, and they could have actually done... I mean, the material probably wasn't the best material, but they were just so funny that they, you know, you couldn't but laugh.
I think I'd spend the money on setting up a home for bewildered comics. Or, no, probably just put it into the huge black hole that is my bank balance.
I liked Anton a lot as well.
Yeah.
And Simon from the first half.
Yeah.
But Paul Foot was probably my favourite.
But I think you're right. Paul Foot was more naturally funny.
He's actually very unusual. I don't think I've seen anyone quite like that doing stand-up.
Well,
yeah.
I thought him and Simon Evans both completely... You were completely convinced by them as soon as they came on, and that stayed true all the way.
Yeah.
I mean, possibly I might open a pension plan. I think that would be a sensible move at this time of my life. I've been thinking of taking out wearing glasses as well. I could get a really nice pair for £2,000.
That kid from Manchester was almost entirely unbroadcastable, wasn't it? It was funny, though.
Boardman.
Yeah.
I'd probably end up taking my girlfriend away on holiday. But I won't be buying her an engagement ring, so we'll have that on camera, if possible.
Anton was dead cheeky, though, wasn't he?
Bloke. You can imagine him opening up for Motorhead or something. I thought it was good.
Yeah. All his accent and everything.
Yeah.
Really.
He's great.
I think he'll do very well.
Yeah,
I really can see him having a big career.
I don't know. Never really had my hands on that much money. I suppose I could put it down as a deposit on a flat. somewhere in London, because that's where most of the work will be.
My own feeling actually is that Foot is better than Anton.
I think he shades it slightly, yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Just.
Yeah.
Persevering with what I'm doing at the moment. Continue doing stand-up, try writing other things, and see how it goes.
Who was the worst?
I'm not saying. Who did you think was... That's your area, innit?
I thought only one of them seemed nervous.
Which one?
Daryl. He's talking too fast. He was a little bit...
Yeah.
What I'd like to do is I'll spend the money hiring a private detective and to track down my maths teacher, and when I find him I'm just going to go, look Mr Gill, I can get through life being an idiot and talking rubbish. I'm a winner.
What did you think of Harpie?
I thought she was good, yeah. I thought she was good.
Yeah.
Confident.
I think if I won the £2,000, I'd have my boyfriend assassinated.
God, we've not even had a row about this or anything, have we? Go on, say something, Gary.
Shall we be controversial?
Yeah, go on. It's not controversial.
Usual stuff, I think. House, car, holiday. But it wouldn't change me.
Footy?
Yeah.
Look at you,
Footy?
calling him Footy now.
We got it.
First of all, a car that I'm going to buy. And secondly, a holiday. And I've already bought the car and already bought the holiday. So if I don't win, I'll just have to use my own money, I suppose.
It hurts the Daily Telegraph to give a prize to somebody called Paul Foot.
I like your trousers.
So, the judges are returning, ladies and gentlemen. They've made their decision, taken off their suspenders and sedated the donkey. So put your hands together and welcome Charles Moore. So, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 1997 Daily Telegraph Open Mic Awards is... Paul Foot. Check for £2,000.
Where's your trophy, Paul?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Foot. Do you want to say a few words? Oh, if you've got anything you should. You're not supposed to, you should.
Well, I've just noticed that you've misspelt my name on the cheque, so I won't be able to cash that. I've also noticed, rather cynically, that this is held on a bank holiday. So, obviously, I can't go to the bank now. What I probably will do is have a little rest, because I've been up all hours, really. And I'm very pleased indeed to have won this, because it means after all my hard work and everything that I've put into my act, I have won some kind of an award. So, I'm very, very pleased. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. Thanks to your judges, Caroline Aherne, Gary Bushell, Arthur Matthews, and of course Charles Moore. To all the other contestants, and most of all to Paul Foot. That's the Daily Telegraph Open Mic Awards for this year. Do join us again next year when we'll be doing it again. Thank you very much. Good night.